last time I saw her, she was with this guy in his truck. I swear I've never seen him before in my life.
Looks like she got away from you.
My wife did not leave me. Get down on the ground.
Until you live it,
Where is she?
you'll never know what hit you. Kurt Russell.
You better hurry. She's alive.
Red John, rated R. Starts Friday, May 2nd everywhere.
You know, it's hard not to look at this movie and then think of the film The Vanishing, which was, of course, remade by American audiences for about 4 years prior to this with Kiefer Sutherland, Jeff Bridges, Sandra Bullock was in that one. That was my first thought when I saw the trailers for this back in '97. I thought to myself, I saw the video previews for this, and my first thought was kind of that film, The Vanishing. And this film is nothing like The Vanishing. In fact, far from it. In fact, this movie actually is pretty damn entertaining, and it's mostly because of Kurt Russell. He kind of is the desert equivalent to a John McClane character from Die Hard in this. He's very good in the film. Him and Kathleen Quinlan have great chemistry as a couple. J.T. Walsh is great in this film. This was actually the last film that was made before he died, and I can't remember if it was before 98 or just after 98, because he was also in Pleasantville too. And I think that was the last film he ever started before his death. So, after his death, I should say. And this is directed by Jonathan Mostow, who'd go on to have a pretty decent career after this. He directed a pretty underrated submarine thriller, U-571. He also did Terminator 3, which is not that great compared to the other Terminator movies, but certainly a lot better than some of the ones that came after Terminator Salvation, that's for sure. And he did Surrogates, which is a mediocre film at best, with Bruce Willis in it. This is a pretty damn good movie. It's got a lot of good action, a lot of good mystery, a lot of good tension all the way through. I was really surprised when I finally got to see this movie. I did not think it was going to be as strong as it was, as I thought it was coming in here. I thought it was going to be kind of a mediocre thriller, because it was one that not a whole lot of people really bring up nowadays, but as a whole, it's a pretty entertaining movie. It does keep you on the edge of your seat. It does keep you wondering what's going to happen. I mean, is he going to find his wife? Is there going to be some kind of crazy twist at the end or something like that? And they do a pretty good job of playing it straight through. They do a pretty good job of entertaining you, keeping you invested in what's going on. It's a really good film. If you haven't seen this movie, I'd highly recommend checking it out. Breakdown, a pretty damn good movie. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie that we have here, which is probably the most notable movie that came out this weekend in terms of its relevancy in pop culture, and we'll delve more into that with Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery.
In 1967, an international secret agent was cryogenically frozen in case the world ever required his services again. Now, evil is threatening the Earth, and the time has come to bring him back into the 90s.
It's not unusual.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
Danger Powers Personal Effects.
Actually, my name is Austin Powers. Danger's my middle name.
I'm going to need you to sign these release forms.
Okay, name. Sex? Yes, please.
In his time, he was the coolest secret agent alive. Unfortunately,
It's freedom, baby. Yeah.
this is not his time. He's a swinger in a square world.
A lot's changed since 1967.
Bring on the sexy stews, man. Yeah.
We're on flight attendants now.
And he's a stranger in a strange land.
This is my mother, Mrs. Exposition.
Lovely.
Austin!
What have you done? That's not your mother. It's a man, baby. What? Move this quick.
Shake it to the left, shake it to the right. You're doing a hippie shake.
Get up, get up. Ow. That really hurt. Who throws a shoe? Honestly.
Mike Myers,
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Elizabeth Hurley,
Don't forget me. Oh, thanks.
Austin Powers. International Man of Mystery.
Oh, I'm not into have fun, Austin. That's you in a nutshell.
No, this is me in a nutshell. Help! I'm in a nutshell.
So there's a lot of interesting little pieces to talk about with Austin Powers. This is Mike Myers' first attempt at a big screen comedy again after 1993 was not the best year for him, with So I Married an Axe Murderer doing poorly at the box office, and Wayne's World 2 not doing so well either in terms of overall financial status, I should say. Still a fun movie, though. So I Married an Axe Murderer a little bit, but this is a movie that comes after he left SNL. I think he was still on SNL through 95, I believe, because I remember seeing him on SNL in some episodes from the 94-95 season, but this is his first major film he did outside of Saturday Night Live, and I hope to relaunch his film career, and the result is a pretty solid, entertaining movie. Obviously, you could tell this is a parody of the James Bond films, other things from the 1960s, and this is right at the peak when we got the Pierce Brosnan James Bond films, and this was before the spy genre as a whole would get this refreshing look in the years to come with stuff like the Bourne films, and also, most notably, the Kingsman films. But this is a pretty damn good film. It's an entertaining movie all around. It's interesting to see how much of Mike Myers' improvisation comes into play here, because there's a lot of really funny stuff in here. This is based off of a character he played with the band of Ming T, the faux 1960s rock band, which also features Susanna Hoffs from the Bangles, and it's funny because there's a lot of things to talk about with this film. For example, you see there, Dr. Evil's not really in the trailer a lot in this, because, like, you just see the back of him, but that was because they wanted to hide the fact that Dr. Evil was also played by Mike Myers, and naturally the end result is a pretty funny character overall, which is interesting because Dana Carvey felt that character of Dr. Evil was copied from a mix of Carvey's impression of mostly from his impression of Lorne Michaels, the producer of Saturday Night Live, and he and Mike Myers had a bit of a feud going on a little bit there until they eventually reconciled later on down the road. And I see a little bit of that, and I also see a little bit of Blofeld from the original James Bond movies, which I think that was the intention going into that film. You also notice that, you know, Jim Carrey was going to play Dr. Evil at some point, as Myers didn't want to play multiple characters in the series. Carrey was going to do it, then he turned it down for Liar Liar, which ended up being a big success for him. Rhea Perlman was going to play Frau Barbizina in here, and I almost thought it was her when I first saw this movie, but she had to drop it because of scheduling conflicts, and she's regretted ever turning that movie down. The thing that really surprised me was Colin Quinn was going to play Scott Evil, and again, he regretted declining the part, and then eventually went to Seth Green, and that would have been so interesting to see how that would have played out. I mean, Colin Quinn, Seth Green, that's two clearly different people there, but the movie was a big hit, was a funny movie. It's a really funny film. It's silly, it's ridiculous, it knows exactly what it wants to try to do, and there's also a little bit of heart to it. I mean, Elizabeth Hurley, I think, is really good in the movie. Like, she plays kind of the straight man approach to Austin Powers' fish out of water scenario here, and I think their chemistry works so well together, which really stings you when you realize the next film literally starts with her for no real reason being a fembot, and it's never mentioned ever again. But we'll delve more into that when we get to The Spy Who Shagged Me. But this film was a mild success. It didn't do gangbuster business at the box office. I mean, it opened in second behind Breakdown, but it wasn't, especially in the UK, it didn't do very well because when they put this on in the UK, Princess Diana had just died. It happened in 1997, in August of 97, just before this movie was supposed to come out. But thanks to what happened with VHS and DVD sales, the strong word of mouth began to grow for this. And as soon as the second film came out, Austin Powers was pretty much a phenomenon at that point. There was that good 5-year stretch when people really loved this character. You see him everywhere. Everyone's trying to says his catchphrase on TV shows. I mean, he had a lasting impact in a little bit of pop culture. It helped Mike Myers become somewhat of a big movie star at that point. I mean, the end of his run in Austin Powers eventually led to him doing the Shrek films, which is it's interesting. It's an interesting story of how Austin Powers went from being this little-known underground hit to becoming this global comedy franchise that everybody really knows about. And even though the sequels are not quite as good as this film, like I said, we'll delve into those as we get to those films eventually. But as far as this movie goes, it's still a great film. Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, really funny film. Can't recommend it enough if you haven't seen it already. It is legitimately funny after all these years. So, With that said, let us move on to the next movie, and that is Warriors of Virtue.
This Friday. Welcome to the other side. Feel the power of water, earth, metal, wood, and fire.
Houston, we have a problem.
This Friday, discover the secret of the Warriors of Virtue. Rated PG. Starts Friday.
Man, Ronnie, you deserve so much better than this. This was actually his first movie made in America. This was his big directorial debut, and he eventually went on to become a pretty decent horror director. He did Bride of Chucky, he did Freddy vs. Jason, and then he actually did a pretty good Jet Li film with Fearless almost 10 years after this. The movie itself is just pretty bad. I mean, the visual effects are not that good looking. The costume characters aren't that intriguing. The story makes absolutely no sense. You do not like this main character whatsoever. The villain is a little too corny for his own good. There's just nothing really interesting about the story at all, and they really thought that this was going to be the next big thing. I mean, anthropomorphic kangaroos who wield the powers of Tao and battle an evil warlord. I mean, that should be pretty interesting, but in this case, not so much. I don't even need to say any more about that one. The movie pretty much speaks for itself why it failed miserably. So that's Warriors of Virtue for you. So what the hell was that? That's Warriors of Virtue for you. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Commandments.
God was trying to test his faith.
I know the difference between bad luck and a divine hand.
Now the only way he can go on
Who says going to break the commandments? Is that most? Depends on how many he breaks.
is to get even.
You know that the prophet is carving a naked woman with severed head?
I think he's dangerous.
That's not dangerous.
You don't know him in the biblical sense.
Aiden Quinn, Courtney Cox, Commandment, rated R. Open Friday, May 2nd in select cities.
Another one of those movies that have a lot of potential to it, a funny idea that could make for a really fun black comedy where you have this guy who is just ready to kill himself, and then he just stays alive, and now he plans to break all the 10 commandments to get revenge on God. That should be hilarious in a dark comedy way, and yet this movie isn't like that. I mean, it's not that intriguing, it's not that intelligent, it's not even all that funny, honestly, despite the fact it has a really good cast involved. Aiden Quinn, Courtney Cox, Anthony LaPaglia. It's produced by Ivan Reitman, who produces a lot of good movies. But, it just didn't work. I think the direction they should have gone for it should have been more of a darker black comedy instead of this fun little romantic comedy that's also a little bit of a drama. And I think that was the biggest mistake this movie did. And it definitely shows on screen. It's a film that largely is forgotten. Nobody really ever talks about it all that much, and it's probably for a good reason, because the movie ain't that good. So, yeah, quick one on that one as well. That's Commandments. On to the next movie, and that is Children of the Revolution.
Am Tisch hier sind hier rechts Frau Ulrike Meinhoff aus Hamburg, Kolumnistin der Zeitschrift Konkret. Ihre Autorität beruht auf den Argumenten, die sie vorbringt als Kolumnistin.
Or at least I thought that was Children of the Revolution. I mean, the YouTube video I looked for on that was named Children of the Revolution, but when you look at the page for it here, in fact, let me just show you what it is right now. Take a look at this. So yeah, that's supposed to be Children of the Revolution, and it's got Judy Davis, Sam Neill, F. Murray Abraham, Richard Roxburgh, Rachel Griffiths, Jeffrey Rush, all these notable names in here, so I don't think that was it. Yeah, I can't even find actual footage for that film in particular, so I don't know if that was it or not. But I haven't seen the film, so I can't really say. I don't even have anything really to say about it, honestly. But I wanted to cover it because it came out that weekend, so yeah, that's a first for me, because I don't even know if that clip I showed you was actually from that particular film that came out this weekend, but I got nothing else for you. I don't know what else to say, so that's Children of the Revolution, I think. So why don't we move on to the next movie? Let's see what Kiefer Sutherland's up to with Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
You shot a damn cop! Wild. You want something, just go out and get it. Uh-oh.
sorry, man.
Reckless.
Respect is the foundation of working relationships.
Was that disrespectful?
Savage. It looks like it hurts. And underneath it all,
I don't know why everybody's yelling at me.
they're even worse.
I thought it went pretty well.
Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
Another movie I never heard of, but Keith Sutherland directed it as well. You got a group of crooks, an ex-con, his friend, and a gun-crazy gangster planning a drug heist, but not everything goes as planned. So it kind of fits into the style of these type of neo-noir crime dramas crime films in general that we got during the 90s, like stuff like Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction or all these other knockouts that came out after Pulp Fiction came out. It's got a good cast too. I mean, Vincent Gallo's also in here, Micheletti Williamson, Sutherland, Kevin Pollak, John C. McGinley, Rod Steiger, Martin Sheen. I mean, notable names in here, but again, I don't really know too much about this, so I don't know if it's any good or not. The reviews for it aren't that too promising, but went straight to video. It went straight to video after a few weeks, and didn't do a whole lot at the box office. So, yeah, I don't have anything for you on this one. I got nothing. And this last one should take us no time whatsoever because I haven't seen it either. So let's go ahead and move on to that one. Irma Vep. So this is a very interesting looking film. This is a film about a Hong Kong actress, Maggie Cheng, who plays a fictionalized version of herself as disasters result when an unstable French film director, played by Jean-Pierre Léaud, attempts to remake the classic silent film Les Vampires. And of course, Irma Vep is an anagram for vampire, so I think you can kind of see what this movie ends up becoming. And I guess it has a following to it because they remade this as a miniseries for HBO with the same director and writer that they have on here. So it's got a legacy to it. I've never seen it before, but I gotta say that trailer looks pretty interesting. It looks like kind of like a more comedic version of Shadow of the Vampire with Willem Dafoe and John Malkovich when they is about the making of Nosferatu. So I mean that's just what I see right from the trailer from the get-go. But I don't know. It definitely looks like it has some promise to it. So maybe one day I'll definitely check it out. But that is Irma Vep. Fifth Element is one of those movies that everybody seems to really like. When it comes to Luc Besson, this is usually one of his films that gets the most acclaim. It's the one that's had the biggest following out of all his films. And I don't know, for me personally, I don't hate the movie. I'm just going to say that right now. But I don't think the movie is as good as everybody makes it out to be. Like I said, I don't hate this movie overall. And when I really look at the other films that Luc Besson has done as a director, this is probably his best overall film. Outside of the film Nikita and also Leon the Professional, but at the same time, it's not one that I go back to a lot. I've watched it every once in a while to see if I could finally get to see what everybody's been talking about, but I don't know. I just don't see it. But let me be honest. Like I said, it's not a bad movie. It is not a bad movie by any means necessary. I just don't think it's this grand epic film that I think a lot of people could consider it to be. I mean, I like the casting in here. Bruce Willis, I think, is very good here. I think Chris Tucker, the role that he plays in this, is actually kind of very amusing in this. Like, I think it's like, I've never seen him this chaotic before, and at the same time, it's kind of fun to watch him being this chaotic. Gary Oldman is a pretty good antagonist in here, and Mila Jovovich, I've talked bad about her over the years. I've never been a big fan of hers, but I will say this: she's actually not too bad in this movie. She's actually pretty solid in here. The visuals overall look really incredible. The cinematography is top notch. The visuals are impressive to look at. To me, I think it's just the story doesn't really do that much for me. I think it's a story that takes a little bit... there's a heavy metal segment. I think it's the first one that begins the film that's kind of eerily similar to the premise of this film in the beginning. I don't know if anybody else can see that, but I can see a little bit of it in there. But as far as the story itself goes, it doesn't really do anything too grand or too significant to make it really stand out on its own. Like I said before, it's not a bad movie per se, and I have seen it a couple of other times, but it's not one that I go back to every once in a while. But once every maybe 5-10 years, I usually go back and check it out and see if it has anything of value to it, other than what I just talked about. But other than that, not really. It's a movie that I've been kind of like, it's okay for what it is. It's not one I'd watch over and over again, but I don't hate it by any means necessary. I think there just isn't enough there to really make it stand out on its own, at least in my personal opinion. But everybody else seems to like it. So, like I always say, it's like whatever you like. So yeah, that's The Fifth Element for you. And I will say this: The Fifth Element is certainly a lot better than the next movie that we've got here, and that is Robin Williams and Billy Crystal and Ivan Reitman's Father's Day. I mean, you got all that talent there. How can you possibly go wrong?
Jack Lawrence.
Yeah, I have a son, Scott.
Wow.
He's yours.
Dale Putley.
I have a son. I'm your dad. Hi, Scotty.
I'm your papa, your daddy, your bear.
Can I see him?
Dale, Scott's been missing.
My son is missing?
The only thing they have in common.
Your son ran away? So did mine.
How richly bizarre.
Can we get a picture?
Happened 17 years ago.
There he is.
Oh, he's handsome.
Thank you. This is my daddy.
What is this, a joke? Hello?
Who is the father?
The truth is, I don't know. Please just find him.
Scott! His name is Scott! That's him! That's Scott!
At least we know he ate.
What is going on?
Hi, honey.
Somebody call for a valet?
I'm hosing him down, Jack!
What?
He's so slippery!
I'll come back.
Warner Brothers presents.
Scott.
17 years ago, we both... Your mother...
Hey!
Robin Williams.
Oh, boy.
Billy Crystal.
I'm still your age.
No, I'm not all right. Will you get it
All
off?
right, it was an accident.
Oh, I know.
All right.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
This is your friend, your shower buddy.
Yes.
Yes?
No, we were never in the shower together.
No, the boy and I were in the shower.
He was soaping him up
And hosing him off.
and I was just watching.
That's all.
Nastasia Kinski.
I feel like such a loser. Everybody thinks they're a loser when they're 16. To be a true loser takes years of dedicated ineptitude.
In an Ivan Reitman comedy.
This is way too much trouble. That's why you don't have children. Watch yourself. You're too selfish.
And you are a mess.
Yes, I am a mess, but I am a work in progress, Jack. Hug me, and let us join our spirits.
Oh, boy.
Father's Day.
You're ruining my life.
Yes, we gotta go.
Which one of you is Scott's father?
He is.
I have several questions to ask about this particular film. First of all, that kid does not look 17. I mean, he looks like he's in his mid-teens, not 17 years old. That's the first mistake. Number two, why did you keep all those bad takes of Robin Williams in there? Like, I know you're trying to do the whole thing about dad jokes and all that type of stuff, but give Robin Williams something funny to do. Like, even if he improv'd a lot in this, why did you take that stuff and just leave it and put that in the movie? I mean, like really, is that was really the best of Robin Williams' improvisation that you could get from this? 3, this plot makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I mean, this is a really really lackluster plot that 20 years later Warner Brothers would try to do again, and Ivan Reitman also produced that film, which was Father Figures. And it's just not funny. Like, you have Billy Crystal and Robin Williams, plus the cast that also includes Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Bruce Greenwood, Charles Rocket, Mel Gibson has a cameo in here, Sugar Ray is also in the movie, Jared Harris. I mean, there's a lot of talent in this movie, including the director Ivan Reitman. Another problem with the movie is that they open it up on Mother's Day weekend. Like, if you really wanted this to be successful, then why did you not put it out on Father's Day weekend? I mean, the movie is literally called Father's Day. Like it's like Warner Brothers knew this was bad and just said, "Screw it, we're gonna put it out. We're gonna put it somewhere else." But in fact, even now, you know what? Even Warner Brothers themselves looked at this and said, "Oh, this is not gonna work." Like as they said, the Warner's executive basically looked at the film. They said, "We have a package. You got Billy Crystal, Robin Williams, Ivan Reitman." We say, "Great." They don't mess in the production whatsoever. They see the movie and they're just like, "Yeah, we've made a terrible mistake." They kept reshooting it and enhancing it, but the guy literally said, "You can't fix something this bad." And this is a really, really bad movie. Like, how bad is it? Let me put it this way: when Billy Crystal and Robin Williams showed up on Friends, it was much funnier than anything in this movie.
Whoa, look at this! It's Billy Crystal and Robin Williams!
What's the matter?
That's part of a 2-minute clip from Friends, and that had more laughs in it. It makes no sense whatsoever why they're there, and it's still much funnier than anything in this movie. And the writing team behind this is great too. Laurel Gans and Barbara Mendel. They wrote Parenthood. I mean, they wrote City Slickers. How in the world did this movie fall apart like this? Well, I mean, the basic answer to that question is that it's just a script that's not really worthy of a feature-length comedy. This is something that is expanded to is something that's straight out of a sitcom. And I mean, the critical reviews for this is literally a bad sitcom. Like Roger Ebert basically said, it's a brainless, feather-length sitcom with too much sit and no com. I mean, he's right on about that. Like, this does not feel like a movie that deserves to be on a big screen. And it's just like, man, this is just unbearable to watch. Like, this is a terrible movie. With the talent that they have on board here, like, you expect a lot more when Billy Crystal and Robin Williams are on screen together. And this is just, it's a mess. It's a major, major mess on so many levels, and I cannot believe it. This is probably Ivan Reitman at his absolute worst as a filmmaker. Like, this is probably the worst thing he ever directed, and he didn't make a ton of great films after this point, but at least his heart was put in the films that would follow after this more than this film was. I mean, this is just not great. Not a great movie indeed. So yeah, one of the worst movies of 1997, no question about that. That's Father's Day. On to the next movie, and that is a film called Nowhere.
Camera with me wherever I go. Trying to find my soulmate. You know, there's got to be somebody out there somewhere.
Isn't that just so bitchin'?
What's your name?
Dark! I have to rot my life away in a 9-to-5 hellhole to support your lazy, juvenile delinquent.
Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up! How now, brown cow? Cowboy.
Oh my god.
From the same man that gave us the Doom Generation, and this is actually the third and final installment of the Teenage Apocalypse film trilogy that included Totally Effed Up and the Doom Generation, and has an amazing cast to it. I mean, Rachel True, Debbie Mazar, Kathleen Robinson, Christina Applegate, Guillermo Diaz, Ryan Felipe, Heather Graham, Beverly D'Angelo, Mina Savari, Denise Richards, Tracy Lord, Shannon Doherty, Rose McGowan, John Ritter, Charlotte Ray, Christopher Knight, Eve Plum, David Leisure, I mean, Stacey Keenan, a really stacked cast in this. The film is described as Beverly Hills 90210 on acid, and I can't really say if it's anything too spectacular or anything because I haven't seen this movie, and I actually have not seen any of these films in this particular trilogy, but just the cast alone, that means the potential for this could be very interesting, and these reviews, I mean, this could be something that was a little bit ahead of its time. I mean, it has reportedly gone on to have this cult status, and its reputation has grown over the years. And you basically follow these college students in Los Angeles and the strange lives they live in. And I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know if this is any good or not, but I mean, this definitely could be something very bizarre and trippy. That could be something that's very funny too. But I don't know. Maybe this could be something interesting. Maybe not. I mean, I really don't have anything else for you because I haven't seen it, so I can't really say if it's good or not. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the last film we got here, and that is Twin Town.
Rugby. Tom Jones, male voice choir. Shirley Bassey. Llanfair Pwll Gwyngyll, Golgera, Chwyn Drobwr, Sandy Silio, Gwrw. Snowdonia.
Prince of Wales.
He's not fucking Welsh. Anthony Austin. Daffodils. Sheep. Sheep shaggers. Cool. Slate quarries.
You actually got to kind of wonder if this is actually the same movie as maybe the same people that made Nowhere, because this is a story about two brothers spending their time on drugs and joyriding, and when their father shows up, they demand compensation for it. And I mean, you could definitely see a little bit of what was also in Nowhere, but this is more like a little bit like Trainspotting. In fact, a lot of people criticize this as a reject version of Trainspotting, like a wannabe Trainspotting film. And I don't know. I mean, Reese Evans, Dougray Scott, two very good actors here. And maybe it is that. Maybe it is that. Maybe it's just a wannabe version of Trainspotting. But I don't know. It might have something that could be worth it in the end. But considering that this director also went on to do Agent Cody Banks 2, Destination London, probably not a good sign for this film. These guys have been better in much better films. I mean, they might carry the film over, but other than that, though, I'm not too sure. But haven't seen it, so I can't really say if it's any good or not. So moving on, that is Twin Town. So with that said, that wraps up another edition of Time About the Movies. It's not looking like a pretty good week next week. If what I see here is true, not any one of these movies is going to be memorable. I mean, it goes from the top 6 films are basically the same 6 films from this weekend we're talking about. And then after this, you have stuff like Night Falls on Manhattan, Sprung, The Second Jungle Book, Mowgli and Baloo, The Van, Brothers in Trouble. 5 films I don't really know too much about, so I mean, next time around, it should be a very quick episode to look at. So, I guess if you want to check that one out, or just wait for the next week, because I think Lost World's coming out the next week after that. So, either way, if you're going to be joining us for the next time, I thank you very much. But I wouldn't put it past you to miss that one and go to the next one. But what am I even talking about here? With that said,
I want you to get up now. Get him off. Go to the window. Leave him on. Stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore.
You spilled your guts to the grand jury. Say it isn't so simple.
Take me wash our own laundry around here. I don't care if I'm in trouble. I don't care who gets it anymore, including myself. I'm a marked man in this department for what?
Will you help me?
I can win it. I can win this case.
Have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
Robbing a bank's a federal offense. They got me on kidnapping, armed robbery.
Come on.
What's he doing? Will you get back? Get back.
His films have touched our conscience and challenged our minds. Now, one of the greatest directors of our time pushes the limits again.
Whose father is laying up there with tubes coming out of every hole he's got? And who put him there?
Between truth and corruption.
Cops from 3 precincts were in business with my client.
Guilt.
I'm saddened to announce the indictment this morning of 5 police officers on charges of bribery and dealing in narcotics.
And innocence.
If their lips are moving, they're lying.
Conviction. And compromise.
It wasn't supposed to happen to me.
It's not supposed to happen to any of us.
Andy Garcia. Richard Dreyfuss.
Swear to me right here, Pop. You're clean.
Night Falls on Manhattan.
You know, this movie probably would have been more exciting if Sidney Lumet had actually done something of any noteworthiness in the last decade. I mean, really, what has he done? What has he done since this movie has come out? Maybe Running on Empty. That was a hit. That was a minor hit, but it wasn't like a huge critical or financial success, as far as I know. I think the last movie of noteworthiness he did that was considered both a critical and a financial success was The Verdict. But other than that, though, I mean, look at some of these other movies he's done since then. Guilty of Sin, not a good movie. Stranger Among Us, not a good movie. Q&A, Family Business, not really that great. The Morning After, Power, Garbo Talks, Daniel. I mean, not a whole lot of good stuff there, honestly. And this one doesn't look any better, despite the fact that it's got some pretty good people in there. Andy Garcia, Ian Holm, James Gandolfini, Lena Olin, Richard Dreyfuss. But you never hear anybody really talk about this, and it's not a good sign if they have to remind you that this is the same guy that made far superior movies like Network or The Verdict or Serpico or Dog Day Afternoon. In this case, it's more like they're saying, why don't you go watch those movies that are much better, and then maybe go see this one if you want to, but we're not really going to try to make you want to see it because we're just basically dumping it up in the summer movie season. And you could tell that Paramount really had no interest in making this the next big hit for Sidney Lumet. But I don't know. I haven't heard anybody say anything too spectacular about it, nor have I heard any good things about it. So, but who knows? Maybe it could actually be something that could be good. I sincerely doubt it, but it's a movie that came out, so that's Night Falls on Manhattan. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, the comedy Sprung.
You never learned the art of meticulous grooming. Real black is back.
The Player's Guide to Love in the 90s.
Think of this as one of the colors of like the true African warriors. Like Shaka Zulu.
Get a smooth game.
He ain't that fine, but I can work with that. Damn!
Don't leave so fast. At least let me off you a ride home on our porch.
Adina,
Hey, you want to take a walk?
doesn't red mean stop? Work that out.
Get a little salty.
Up here.
You did it again.
You just set me home right now.
What's the big deal? It was such a skis, I wouldn't play your trifling.
Trifling?
Trifling.
Get away fast.
Get off the car. You don't know where you live. No, you didn't just take my good hair.
Is your G-string too tight?
Never get played.
Give me her.
That scandalous-looking Gucci filed a complaint?
There's a woman coming down to identify the suspect.
Glad he got more game than Parker Brothers, but I ain't like that.
And whatever you do,
You can't be serious about that sorry excuse for a man.
don't get sprung.
No.
Now, these two have it bad for each other.
They hook up long term, then that means we'll be seeing a lot of each other. I can't abide by that.
And their best friends are out to show them
We got to do something.
just how bad it is.
Do you really know this man?
I'm gonna tell you about this sucker I knew.
Babies just spread all across the country.
You never know if she's got that middle-aged fat gene.
Wives. Got any babies?
No.
Wives?
No. Fat moms, booger bear in the family tree?
Definitely not. We're gonna have to take the gloves off now.
I'm talking about some low-down, nasty, diabolical.
Hey!
The mouse is eating cheese.
You two are so low down.
Downright ignorant somebody. We know that.
From Trimark Pictures,
Doing something to himself.
Make yourself feel good like you're doing something to yourself.
get sprung.
So am I supposed to like anybody in this movie? I mean, this trailer really ain't selling me. This looks like a rip-off version of Booty Call, and it's like the people who made this movie saw Booty Call coming out, and they thought that was going to be a big success, and they said, all right, let's get a movie out there so we can compete with this because Booty Call is going to be a big hit. And I mean, Booty Call was the more successful film, but nothing about this movie looks that fun whatsoever. Like, there's nothing about it that looks that hilarious. There's nothing about it that looks like it's that again, not that fun. I mean, why is the main couple here friends with these two people that clearly do not like each other and don't want the other to see the other ones because they don't want to see that, because that means they're gonna have to see each other more. It's just like, I don't know. Like, this is a film I've never seen it before, so I don't know. Maybe there's actually a purpose to it in the movie. Maybe it's actually a decent film, but then again, 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, probably not the best thing going forward. And for Rusty Cundiff, this is another film he directed after he did Fear of a Black Hat and Tales from the Hood. And then after this, he'd do nothing else. And this next thing that he would do was Movie 43 and Tales from the Hoods 2 and 3. And this is not a good turn for a director like this. Like I said, I don't know. Maybe it is actually good, and I'm just not seeing it from this trailer here, but I don't know. I've never heard anybody really say anything good about this, so it probably is. I don't know. It could go either way. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie. This is going to be a boring episode if you haven't noticed already, because I've really got nothing to say about most of these films. So and I probably won't have much to say about this next one here, the second Jungle Book, Mowgli and Baloo.
Come to the land where the legend was born. The home of your old friends, Baloo, Shere Khan, Bagheera, and Mowgli. The land where the adventure began. Where the untold story comes magically to life. Rudyard Kipling's The Second Jungle Book, Mowgli and Baloo, rated PG. Special engagements start Friday.
It says a lot when Disney's animated Jungle Book 2 movie that went to theaters that was originally supposed to go direct to video is probably a much better sequel than this movie is. Like, I don't even know what the sequel is supposed to be. Like, is it supposed to be a sequel to the live-action Jungle Book movie that came out 3 years prior by Disney? Is it supposed to be a sequel to, you know, what is? I mean, I don't get it. Like, what exactly is this supposed to be a sequel to if it's called The Second Jungle Book? And even though Rudyard Kipling's name is on top of it, I sincerely doubt that he had nothing to do with it. It's because the other version of the Jungle Book clearly had nothing to do with Rudyard Kipling's original book at all. But, yeah, this one is another one I barely remember from. I used to see the video for this all the time at the video store, but I've never had the time to see this movie, nor did I really want to see it. I mean, the biggest name in the film is Billy Campbell and Roddy McDowall, which Roddy McDowall got nominated for a Razzie Award for this, so that should tell you probably everything you need to know about this movie. But, again, I have nothing else to add to this. It just doesn't look like an intriguing film. It doesn't look that engaging whatsoever. I can't even tell what kind of a movie what kind of a sequel it's supposed to be. Like, where does this take place in the story of the Jungle Book? It's just like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It just feels like Sony saw the chance to make their own version of the Jungle Book, and they said, screw it, let's just make it. And, like, I wish I had some more for you, but I really do not. So, next film, The Van. So this is the third installment of the Berrytown trilogy by Roddy Dowell, who also did the other two films are The Commandments in '91 and The Snapper in 1993. I've seen the Commitments. Did I say Commandments or Commitments? Commitments is what I meant to say. Again, I don't really know anything about this one. I don't know if it's any good or not. Considering it doesn't have the best reviews compared to the other two films in this trilogy, it probably isn't that good of a movie, honestly. So I hope you're enjoying this, because this is probably the hardest I've ever struggled to try to get something out of a week that's not very good. So we're almost done here, though. On to the last film, Brothers in Trouble. So a group of illegal immigrants from Pakistan find their already troubled existence threatened with a crisis, while one of them brings a pregnant white girl to live in their cramped household. I'm going to be honest with you. When I tried to look for footage of this on YouTube, that was the only thing that ever came up, is the movie itself, and I'm assuming that's the movie itself. But when I look at when I'm looking at the information on Wikipedia, they said it's a BBC miniseries. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it's like. I really don't know. No, I mean, I don't know if this is any good or not. I haven't seen it, and yeah, quite frankly, I'm just struggling to figure out what to say about what to say anymore. Because, like, I'm struggling to figure out what to say about movies that I've never seen before, B, I've never even heard of, and C, I don't even think this is the actual film. So, yeah, this is not a good episode. This is Brothers in Trouble. I apologize for this episode. I really, really do. This is one of the few times that I'm seriously sorry that I made you sit through this, but we have to get through these weeks, and this is probably the first week I've ever done of these episodes where I'm just like, there's literally nothing I can say about these. These movies are largely forgettable. I've never seen most of them. And, again, I'm sorry if I wasted your time on this. I can only imagine what it was like being in the theater in 1996 and 97 and seeing that trailer popping up on the big screen. I mean, that had to have been an incredible film-going experience. That's one of the greatest teaser trailers of all time. Too bad the movie was nothing like the marketing, and, I mean, honestly, folks, I've talked about this one in long lengths on previous videos. In fact, in my Jurassic Park 30th Anniversary retrospective I just did, which you can go check out with the link in the corner, I pretty much ran down everything I didn't like about this movie, so I'll just go ahead and be brief on this one in particular. If someone were to ask me what the worst Steven Spielberg directed movie of all time is, I'd probably say The Lost World would be my choice, because let me tell you, this was bad. This was really, really terrible. It's a movie that's nothing but a retread of the first film, except worse. The whole movie is riding on Jeff Goldblum's character from the first movie, and that's pretty much it. And Jeff Goldblum was great in the first Jurassic Park, but here, it's hard for me to take him seriously to be as the leading guy in this movie. I mean, he just doesn't work in this case. I mean, the rest of the cast is wasted in here as well. They take characters from the previous movie and give them these really bad motivations. I mean, both the heroes and the villains are both messed up in their motivations. Like, the heroes end up doing more damage than the bad guys do in this movie. And it just gets ridiculous and more stupider and stupider as it goes along. The little girl with gymnastics kicking the raptor out of a building, I mean, that's something that just really does not hold up well after all these years. It's still pretty bad. Like I said before, the only good thing I would think about the film is that the effects are still pretty good. The last scene in San Diego is actually pretty fun. But other than that, though, it's Spielberg's worst movie as a director by far. I mean, there's nothing that I've seen from him that has come even close to as bad as this movie is. It's just a terrible, terrible sequel that apparently I'm the only one that really doesn't like, because everybody else that I always see, they like this one too. I don't get it, but I mean, like I said, I've always said, freedom of speech. They can say whatever they want to. They can believe whatever they want to, and I personally believe that this is a terrible movie. I would gladly take the Jurassic World films over the Jurassic Park trilogy any day of the week. Even though the first Jurassic Park is still the best of them all, I'd still take Jurassic World, the trilogy, over the entire Jurassic Park trilogy. So, like I said, I'm brief on that one, but like I said, if you want to see my full delve into The Lost World, go ahead and click the link in the corner to see more. And, so yeah, that's The Lost World Jurassic Park. And I mean, we're already off to a better start than last time around, and we have a romantic comedy to follow that up with next. Meg Ryan and Matthew Broderick in Addicted to Love.
You're waiting for her to leave him for you?
At last, a movie for everyone who's ever been dumped. I'm not spying. I just want to be with her.
This is worse than I'd imagined. That girl of yours is a carnival ride.
They teamed up to win back their lovers. They might end up losing their hearts to each other. Meg Ryan, Matthew Broderick.
I do better than that.
Addicted to Love. Rated R. Starts Friday, May 23rd everywhere.
How is it that Sprung and this movie have pretty much the exact same plot to it? I mean, it's almost exactly the same plot. You have Meg Ryan and Matthew Broderick. They play this couple whose former partners are in love. She wants revenge, and he wants his long-lost love back, so they work together to break up the happy couple. And then they realize that maybe they were meant for each other. It's not quite the same premise as Sprung, but it almost feels just like it. And it's kind of unnerving, honestly. It's a movie that really gets a little bit too stupid for its own good. Like you can make, oops, excuse me, but you can make stupid romantic comedies and they'd still be enjoyable. They could still be a ton of fun to watch, but what the hell was I doing there? I was just like turning my neck like this. It was like Stewie whenever he turns his head when he's questioning Brian. What are you up to? Like, I just noticed that right now. But what was I talking about? Addicted to Love. I really don't remember what I was talking about. But no. Like, you can make stupid romantic comedies and they can be fun, but at the same time, you need a plot that actually makes sense, and this movie really does not make a whole lot of sense. I mean, none of these guys are really mature. I think the only mature people that are in this cast has to be Anton, who's played by Chiquit. I'm probably going to butcher this name completely, but he's a French actor. Chiquit. I need to double check this just to be sure. Evidently, I had trouble with this actor's name before. Chiquit Carou. I still think I butchered that name out, but let's move along here. He's probably the most mature and most likable of the four people involved here. You also have Kelly Preston, and as a dark comedy, maybe there's a chance that this could actually be something enjoyable, but they're trying to make this a real lighthearted movie, and I've said it before, the best form of comedy is misery. I mean, I said it just recently in my influences video that I just did. Like, the best form of comedy is something that has to involve misery. Somebody has to be miserable to make great comedy work. And this movie just doesn't feel like it wants to take that second chance to make that happen, and it backfires big time because of it. It's not a film that really. It's a film that probably would have worked better as a black comet, as a real dark black comedy, like something on the levels of something like Throw Mama from the Train or War of the Roses, but it wants to be this lighthearted comedy at the same time, too, and you just can't do that. You need to pick a direction to go with a movie like this. This is directed by Griffin Dunn, who, of course, is a famous actor, but this is actually his second movie he directed, and there was a little bit of time when he was considered a prolific director. I mean, the next film he did was the Sandra Bullock, Nicole Kidman Witches movie Practical Magic. He'd later go on to do The Accidental Husband in movie 43, so he has a decent directorial career, and in terms of the direction here, it's not bad direction. It's just there's not a good script to really direct from this. I mean, this is not a very solid script, and of course, this movie would be crazy to not have Robert Palmer's Addicted to Love. I mean, you hear it in the commercial there. Yeah, it just didn't work for me. It's a film that there's potential there if you went the dark comedy route, but it just doesn't really want to do that. It wants to be too light, but also wants to have kind of a cynical, mean-spirited edge, and you can't really have the two together unless you're a really good writer and director that can make this work. But in this case here, it just doesn't work. It's a real missed opportunity on a number of levels. So yeah, that's Addicted to Love. So let's go ahead and move on to the last movie we have here, I should say, and that is Brassed Off.
John, and what are you gonna do?
Bit clumsy with the crockery, your Sandra.
In existence for 100 years, the Grimly Colliery Brass Band is old as the mine itself, but the miners are now deciding whether to fight to keep the pit open, and the future for town and band looks bleak. And although the arrival of flugelhorn player Gloria injects some life into the players, and band leader Danny continues to exhort them to continue the national competition, frictions and pressure are too evident. And whose side will Gloria be actually on? I literally read that off of IMDb because, honestly, I have never seen this movie, so I don't know if it's any good or not, but it's got Hugh Jackman. Good lord. I'm out of it right now. Ewan McGregor is what I wanted to say. Ewan McGregor's in here, so is Pete Postlethwaite. Tara Fitzgerald's also in here as well. This is directed by Mark Herman, who did The Boy in the Striped Pajamas about 10 years after this. And, I don't know. I mean, it could be pretty good. I don't know for sure because I haven't seen it, but, I mean, it's cool to see. Ewan McGregor is one of my favorite underrated actors. I see him in a lot of movies. I think he's really great, and I don't doubt he's really good in this. I think he and the rest of the cast can really save this movie. I don't think the story itself is anything that intriguing or interesting, but like I said, it could actually be really good. I might check it out one day if I can find it. So, yeah, quick one on that one, Brassed Off.
Get the boat.
Check.
Gear, Dramamine.
Check.
We go fishing.
For Joe and Gus,
We go fishing!
fishing is their life.
Hey, Joe!
Everything else is a detail. So with a 4-day vacation,
It's gonna be a 10.
10 plus,
Borderline living!
a full tank of gas, and a case of cold beer, nothing, absolutely nothing, will stand between them and their dream.
Hey, Gus! It's just like a ride! Train!
Caravan Pictures invites you
You guys need a ride?
Hey, Gus. Babes.
to come along
Weird.
with Joe Pesci,
That's it? I'm not exactly a little kid, you know. I can drink a full glass.
Danny Glover,
Gus, you okay? You ain't sleepwalking, are you?
I can see you guys are professional fishermen.
who with the flick of a wrist
You two jerks. You're just a pair of kids.
can turn 4 days in paradise into a living hell.
That movie Deliverance?
Well, I don't want to squeal like a pig.
Gone fishing. The story of two guys
Spin him around, Gus. I'll get the bit.
who can't catch a break.
The truth is, it can't get any worse.
There's so much to delve into this movie. You already saw right there at the end of the trailer. This was originally intended to be a film by Walt Disney Pictures, but then Disney shipped this off to Hollywood Pictures. And it's funny because if you see the DVD of this and the opening credits for the film, they don't even bother to fix that. They still have the Disney Pictures logo on there, which just goes to show you how much they gave a crap about this movie, because there's a huge production history behind this film. This film was originally intended to be a film with John Candy and Rick Moranis in the roles of Joel and Gus. They were both busy with other projects and turned it down. The film was originally set to be directed by John G. Avildsen of Rocky fame, and had already filmed with him as the director for the first 2 weeks, but then he was fired by Disney. They paid his $2 million salary to the studio, and then Christopher Kane came in. Christopher Kane did Young Guns and the infamous The Next Karate Kid. He eventually came on to replace him, and then when they were shooting the film, a stunt woman died on the set. So the film what happened was that the stunt was meant to jump on a ramp into a group of other boats, and one of the scenes went awry. The speedboat contained the stunt doubles for both Pesci and Glover, flipped upside down, collided with two separate boats, landing into the set containing film crew and extras, and the stunt woman named Janet Wilder was killed in the accident, and her husband and her father-in-law, as well as two others, were also injured in there, and that happened around Christmas '95, and the film is in tribute to her. Because of that, the film went over schedule and went over budget and came in with a final total of $56 million for the budget. This thing didn't even make back a third of its budget, and quite frankly, you can see why, because this is a really terrible movie. It's a terrible movie on so many levels. You really do not like Joe Pesci and Danny Glover in here, because they are just too stupid for their own good. They think that this movie thinks that these guys are like Beavis and Butthead or Lloyd and Harry from Dumb and Dumber, but no, they're stupid characters in those movies, but you also like those characters because their hearts are in the right place, or you just want to get behind their antics. You don't want to get behind the antics of Joe Pesci and Danny Glover in this movie. Like, they do way too many stupid things in this movie, and things that are literally killing people. Like, you could take the logic of people not dying in the situations in this out of the picture, but I'm sorry, when you have a movie that begins with these two kids who basically cause a massive disaster in their hometown of New Jersey, where they go to jail and they get and thousands of people and hundreds of people are probably dead, and then shortly after that you get a scene where who's Danny Glover's character? I can't remember. Gus drops a huge construction thing on top of a construction office. The building operator's probably still in there, so yeah, it's hard for me to take this enjoyment in there when they caused so much damage in this movie, and you're just wondering how many people got killed in this movie, and how many people, like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna think about that. Plus, everybody in this movie is so stupid. Like, they are really, really stupid. Not just the two leads. The villain is stupid. Rosanna Arquette and Lynn Whitfield are not the brightest people in this movie because they're not well-written characters. They have character actors in here that are uncredited because they don't want their names to be involved in this garbage. Louise Fletcher's in here. Maury Chaykin's in here. Carol Kane, the only thing you can say about her is that it makes sense that she's married to Joe Pesci in this movie. But other than that, that's about it. I mean, this movie is a disaster. This is a massive, massive failure on so many levels. Like, this isn't even good in a so bad it's good type of way. This is a terrible movie. It's not funny. It's lazy writing. It's hard to believe that J.J. Abrams was one of the writers on this before he eventually became successful with Alias and Lost. But this is one of the early films he wrote, and it's written by the same person that also co-wrote Taking Care of Business as well with Abrams, which is obviously a far superior film than this. But this is just a disaster, man. This is a film that just was dead on arrival. There was just nothing funny there whatsoever. It's a huge misfire on so many levels. It's a terrible comedy. Just an awful, awful film. Just a mess on so many levels. So that was a terrible comedy that was released on May 30th, 1997. Now let me show you an underrated comedy that was released on May 30th, 1997.
Charlie Tuttle had the big office, the hot car, and the beautiful fiancée. But he also had a friend.
Is it too soon to kiss the bride? Yeah, we should wait.
Named Richard.
It's your bachelor party.
I can't do this.
Come on, Charlie. If it weren't for me, all you'd ever do is work. One drink. Okay.
Now, while he's sleeping one off,
Buddy?
the biggest trial of his life
My career.
is going on without him.
Mr. Tuttle.
Yes, sir. I'm ready to proceed.
You said you were me.
They think that I'm the lawyer now. And that means I have to keep being the lawyer? Fine, I can handle that.
New Line Cinema presents
This is fraud.
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
Babe?
No. An experienced lawyer
Okay, just breathe. Calm down.
and an out-of-work actor
Whenever I step into a courtroom, I think of something a great law professor of mine once said. But that can wait for tomorrow.
giving justice
You're on one side, I'm on another. Can't we get around this law thing?
You're touching me.
a run for its money.
I don't pose. I don't preen. I don't put perjured testimony on the stand. I don't make a mockery of the American legal system.
You got your style, I got mine.
Michael Richards, Jeff Daniels,
Objection. Get him out of here. Let me back here.
in the second most outrageous trial of the century.
The defense rests.
Trial and error.
I have a big office, I have a big car, and a big... I'm big.
That movie is, of course, Trial and Error from Jonathan Lynn, the director of My Cousin Vinny, and also Sergeant Bilko, another very underrated comedy from the late 90s. This movie is friggin' hilarious, man. I saw this movie on a blind buy. I saw it with Michael Richards in there after I watched him on Seinfeld, and him with, of course, you got Jeff Daniels in there from Dumb and Dumber. Charlize Theron is also a rising star at this point. The movie is just absolutely hilarious, man. I mean, this is a freaking funny movie, and it just works. It works on a number of levels. It shows, like, the concept of this: you have an attorney and his actor friend who ends up replacing him in court to defend his boss's guilty relative, and Michael Richards doesn't realize that once he took the name of Charlie Tuttle, he has to now stay as him for the rest of the movie. And at this point, and then you know what's going to happen. It's going to be a scene where the liar's got to be revealed. There's probably going to be a third act breakup, but at the same time, the jokes that they have in this movie are just so hilariously done. I mean, it's a shame Michael Richards never really did a whole lot of other movies, because he's proven that he could be a really good comedic actor in films. Like, I really wish there would have been some more with him. Of course, more than likely that's not going to happen now after what happened with him in 2006. And if you don't know that already, then do a little research on that, people. But he's really good in this movie. Jeff Daniels is a ton of fun here as well. You have Charlize Theron. Jessica Steen is very good here. So is Rip Torn, Austin Pendleton, Alexander Wentworth, Jennifer Coolidge, Lawrence Pressman, Dale Dye, Max Casella. A really solid cast in here overall here. And it's a funny movie. I think Roger Ebert said it best. It kind of reminds me of some of Billy Wilder's classic comedies from that era when he was really churning out these really great films. And it's really fun. It's really funny stuff. It's a really funny film. It's an intelligent comedy. It's a film that really knows what it needs to do to get a good laugh out of you. I really love this movie a lot. I think it's a very solid film. I think it's a really entertaining film, a very underrated film, and another great film from Jonathan Lynn, who's made a lot of really good movies in his time as a filmmaker. And while this isn't anywhere near as good as something like Clue or My Cousin Vinny, this is still a really damn good movie, and one that people really should go and seek out and see. I mean, I love this movie a lot. I will defend it to the end. Great film. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. You will not be disappointed by it. With that said, on to the next movie, and that is Till There Was You.
Till There Was You. It's the season's best romantic comedy.
What's going on here? Said I could bring some of my stuff home.
I meant like Q-tips. Sexy, witty,
lactose intolerant,
and funny.
For me, my career comes first.
So you can't eat cheese of any kind?
Sarah Jessica Parker is pure comic gold.
Get out of here!
Make a date with destiny.
Who's that?
Till There Was You.
It's highly enjoyable.
Rated PG-13. Now playing in theaters everywhere.
This is a weird movie. This thing takes place over 30 years. You follow two people whose intertwined paths finally converge with their mutual interest in a community project brings them together. It's got a real good cast to it. Gene Triplehorn, Dylan McDermott, who's just coming out for The Practice premiering, Sarah Jessica Parker, a year away from her success on Sex and the City, Jennifer Aniston, right at the peak of her Friends success, Craig Bierko's in here, Christine Ebersole, Michael Tucker, Karen Allen's in here, Ken Olin, Cassie Lemons, Ian Gomez. A really good cast here, written by a good writer too. Winnie Holtzman wrote for the underrated series My So-Called Life, but the film itself is just all over the place. It really doesn't know what it wants to do. Does it want to be a comedy, something to like He Said, She Said, where it's kind of experimental in its story? Doesn't work all the way through, but it makes for a pretty enjoyable film. Or does it want to be just a simple screwball comedy for modern times? You really can't tell what direction they're going for here, and it's a shame because there is a lot of good talent involved in here, but there's just no real direction of where they want to go. Like, what's the end result supposed to be from this? And it tries way too hard to figure out what it wants to be instead of just rewriting that beforehand, before you actually started filming. And they didn't do that. It just felt like they just took the script that they had because they had a writer that created a very critically acclaimed show, and they said, just do whatever she does, and it'll work out in the end, which, needless to say, this one did not. It's a film that has a lot of potential with its cast, but it really doesn't have a good idea of what direction it wanted to go to, and it kind of suffers because of that. You can't even buy into the chemistry between the relationships that go on in here because you really don't know what the direction is supposed to be when it's all said and done. This was a real letdown. This wasn't, and this is something like Gone Fishing, which was like DOA from the start. There was potential here with the writing and the people involved, but it just can't figure out what the direction it was supposed to go to at the end was supposed to be. And yeah, it's a disappointing film. It's a very disappointing film, to say the least. Really expected more from it, and unfortunately this was the end result. Not a very good film, so let's go ahead and take a look at the last film we have here, which is Rough Magic.
So embarrassed, but I hate it when this happens.
Myra's not just good.
She's young, she's blonde, she's pretty.
She's a showstopper.
She has a gift. You think she's marrying me for my money?
I don't think she's going to marry you at all. But when her fiancé gets away with murder...
You killed him.
She does a vanishing act.
I need a man in Mexico. Find somebody.
In that case, you can use one of my stringers down there.
He'll do anything for a buck. I'd swear I'd die and gone to heaven.
Lie down under the back wheels and I'll do what I can to get you there.
So you've got a film set in the 1950s. It tells the story of what happens when this apprentice magician, played by Bridget Fonda, goes to Mexico to escape her fiancé, who's a wealthy politician, to find a Mayan shaman who will teach her ancient principles of magic. and she's being trailed by this detective played by Russell Crowe. He's a former photojournalist traumatized by what he saw in Hiroshima. The photojournalist joins her in their search for the Mayan shaman and falls in love with her. The feeling is not recuperated. When she finds the shaman, she drinks a potion which empowers her to do magic, and the potion has life-changing effects on her and her relationship with her companion. They have strange effects which are brought about by magic. That's really all I know about this. I've never even heard of this movie. I've never seen the film, obviously. But like I said, Bridget Fonda, Russell Crowe, Jim Broadbent, Kenneth Mars playing the magician, Paul Rodriguez is also in here as well. There's a good cast involved in here, so I mean, there could be something good in here, but at the same time, I don't really know for sure because I never even heard of this movie. I didn't even see a trailer for it until I did the research for this. There's not even any reviews for it as far as I can tell, so I really don't know if this is any good or not. I mean, I don't think it is because nobody really ever talks about it. But with the cast involved here, it's got to be worth something at least, I would think. But, I mean, who knows? I don't really know anything else about it except that it came out this weekend. Thought I'd bring it up, so, yeah. Rough Magic.